Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and as you can see today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Last Night on Earth Wonder Woman. Taking a look at the packaging, we can see that this is a wider version of the normal McFarlane box. Nice big window to accommodate the Bane pieces. The collect-to-build Bane is right on the front, along with the number of the figure that we're looking at. Name and logo on one side, window on the other, window on the top with that Last Night on Earth logo shoved in, and some nice artwork on the back to show you what the figure is based on, the other figures in the wave, and how to build Bane. And here I thought you needed Venom. Hey Todd, while you're at it, could you please give us this version of Vixen and Huntress? As usual, the trading card and figure stand are glued into the box. I really wish McFarlane could find a way to pack those in without having to destroy it. And just like the comic book Wonder Woman is powerless if she's been bound by the hands of men, this Wonder Woman comes with a little strap holding her in place. Like many other figures, the cape comes out from the back of this blister card, so do mind that when you're taking it out. McFarlane has some of the best boxes around. Yeah, they're a little bit bland, but I also think they do have a touch of class. For packaging, 1 whole point. Moving on to presentation, thanks to those platform shoes and her mohawk, Wonder Woman comes to about 7.5 inches. Full disclosure, I never read Last Night on Earth, so I have nothing to compare this figure to except for the artwork on the box. That said, based off of the merit of just this figure in front of me, wow. This is a fantastic face sculpt that really balances strength and beauty. I love the wash for the sides of the head that are shaved. The promotional photos didn't have that, and I thought it looked kind of weird. I think this looks a lot better. That said, this gap in the front where the hairline is really kind of stands out now. I love this mohawk look for Diana, but I'd love to see this exact same head sculpt with a full head of hair. I have a feeling it would be the best classic Wonder Woman head sculpt we've ever gotten, and I like how it goes to a little braid in the back. Moving down to her shoulders, I can't get over this cape. The texturing is absolutely incredible. I love this tattering at the bottom. Be warned though that this cape is glued in place and is absolutely not removable. I'll get more into it during posability, but I like how the diaphragm joint is hidden underneath this bustier and how it has this nice metallic red. The gold and the red together have a really nice armored look, and it's a good contrast for the skirt piece. Unfortunately, this knife does not come out of the sheath, and honestly could really use some extra paint detailing. Diana's bracers have this wide ribbing pattern to them. Definitely looks a lot more powerful though. Great leather detailing on this sheath. Could probably benefit from some paint detail here though. Another thing I really want to point out about this figure is the musculature. Because of the two-piece design, we can see some really great ab definition and also some great leg muscles. One of my biggest complaints about the movie version of Wonder Woman was that her legs were just these long, plain tree stumps. Not just Wonder Woman, but a lot of the early multiverse figures. This is a huge step in the right direction. Moving down to the boots, I like these knee pads that she has. The diamond shape kind of reminds me of Superman a bit. And the boots themselves are really cool with these kind of buckles along the side. Real shame we don't have any paint detailing to really make that stand out. Also, I gotta tell you, this flesh tone peg in the calf is really throwing me off. Diana does have peg holes, but I gotta tell you, because the backs of these platforms are so narrow and pointy, it is a little bit hard to get her to stand. Also noticing now that the back of her thigh has that same gold as these knee pads. Minor nitpicks over paint detailing aside, this is the best sculpted Wonder Woman action figure I have ever seen. No question at all, for presentation she gets 1 whole point. Moving on to posability, Wonder Woman's head is on a barbell. The ponytail does keep her from really looking back, but as far as looking down is concerned, she can really bury the chin. She's also got some really great tilt. Moving down to her arms, we can see that she has that kind of butterfly joint system that McFarlane uses. Unfortunately, because of the cape, her arm can only go up that much, and it also can't really move much up this way either. She does have a bicep cut, though, very nicely hidden by these rings, and fantastic double jointed elbows. Generally speaking, I really hate these balls that McFarlane uses for the wrists. I kind of feel like it makes it look like all their figures have carpal tunnel, and this one's kind of weird because instead of hinging up and down, it sort of just hinges side to side. If she had a sword or a weapon, it would kind of work, but just for a fist, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. But on that subject, you'll notice that her right hand can hold a sword, so that articulation does come in really handy. Moving on to her torso articulation, this is where things get a little bit interesting. As I said, there's a great diaphragm joint hidden under this bustier. Arching it all the way back, you can definitely see a bit of a gap, and also if you look closer, you can kind of see some of the engineering. Incredible side-to-side tilt, all that twisting and turning for her sword slashing. But what really fascinated me was that this upper ab section is actually separate from down here. This actually overlaps that. You can kind of see in there. So theoretically, this section should be able to articulate separately from that one. But because this is so high, she can't really crunch that far forward. She can still hunch this far forward though, which is pretty impressive. Not a whole heck of a lot back though because of this cape. Peeking a bit under the skirt, she has the McFarlane leg articulation that gives you a little bit of side-to-side wiggle. But check out that sideways kick. Really decent amount forward too, but kind of hindered by the skirt. Moving down, she has great double-jointed knees. She also does have that McFarlane ball-jointed ankle and also some toe articulation. Overall, some really great articulation on this figure, and I've been able to get her into some great poses. Even the ankle joints, which I normally don't like, have not been a problem. For posability, Wonder Woman gets 1 whole point. Moving on to playability, here is what she comes with. We got a card and a figure stand and a sword and a couple of arms for Bane. Here's that trading card, and on the back, of course, is a data file. If you're curious why Wonder Woman looks like this, you're welcome to pause this video and read it now. So first things first, we've got to talk about this sword. Beautiful detail on the hilt, as you can see. And pretty nice texturing on the blade. That being said, I've had Kleenex thicker than this. I guess all the plastic budget went to Bane because this is the just flim-flammiest sword I've ever seen. When she's holding it, I guess it looks nice, but it's a really loose grip. And you're going to want to pose her with that sword because the sheath really bends it out of place. Luckily for Wonder Woman, playability is more than just accessories. It's also about how well your figure plays with others. Here's Wonder Woman with a McFarlane Batman and Superman. We can get a version of the Trinity. Looking at the Superman and the Wonder Woman side by side, you can really see just how far McFarlane has come. And just for giggles, here she is alongside a couple of DC Direct figures. She doesn't scale too bad with the DC Essential Batman, but she definitely towers over Superman. Speaking of DC Direct, here she is side by side with the DC Essentials Wonder Woman. Honestly, seeing them side by side just makes me wish the McFarlane would do this design. And yeah, if you were curious about trying to do a head swap, the DC Essentials is definitely just a little bit too small. Seeing her side by side with the DC Direct did raise one important question. Where's the lasso? Then again, I haven't read this comic, so for all I know, this version of Wonder Woman doesn't have one. One of the things that's really frustrating is I know there's going to be a chase version of this where she's wearing Dr. Fate's helmet. Having things like alternate heads and alternate hands is something I really wish the McFarlane would do. So I have to ask myself the question, in terms of playability, is this figure on its own enough? If I stop right here and don't get the rest of the figures in this wave, will I be happy with just Wonder Woman on her own? Absolutely. He says as he accidentally breaks her hand off. Then she's good. Phew! Honestly, I've had a ball playing with this figure, and even if I don't get the others, I like this one a lot. Truth be told, it does even make me a little bit curious about the other figures in the line, and honestly, that's something that a good figure should do. For playability, I'm giving this Wonder Woman 1 whole point. That leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. This is where things get a little bit murky. If you pick up this figure as part of the Last Night on Earth wave, it's going to set you back about 25 bucks. 5 of those bucks are just for Bane's arms. If you're looking to pinch some pennies and maybe you don't care about the Mohawk, you might want to wait for that Dr. Fate version. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a single pack figure for 20 bucks. That being said, if you do want to build Bane, or if you just like this look, honestly, I do think it's a good value. For price, I'm giving it 1 whole point for a grand total of 5 out of 5. So, in review, number 1, packaging, nice clean box, easy to see everything. A little boring, but also a little classy. Number 2, presentation, incredible sculpt. Some definite missed opportunities for some extra paint detail, but all the paint that's there is very nicely applied, and that lack of paint is also well made up for with some really intricate texturing. 3, posability. Honestly, I was fiddling around with it, and there was pretty much no pose I tried to get it into that I couldn't. Might want to watch out for that wrist, though. 4, playability. Listen, If you're going to get the rest of the figures in this wave, it's a fantastic addition. Otherwise, it isn't really going to go too well in any of your other collections, but honestly, I think she absolutely can stand on her own. And finally, number 5, price. If you're going to get the wave, obviously it's a fantastic deal. If you don't care about the head sculpt, maybe wait for the single carded variant. But beyond that, it's not that bad of a deal. Will I continue on and get the Bruce Wayne and Omega and Scarecrow figures? Well, I'm not entirely sure yet. Fiddling around with those Bane arms does kind of make me curious about the rest of them though. But I did just post a video the other day previewing some other DC figures I have that I'm going to be digging into real soon. If you enjoyed this content, please like, share, subscribe to all the YouTube rigmarole. I'll be back real soon, but until then, have fun.